Let's start with, what is absolute scarcity? How would you define it?
Yeah. So absolute scarcity happens because we have forgotten our essence as infinite, indestructible consciousness. Okay. So when we come into embodiment, we actually drop through what I call the veil of forgetting. And this is probably a lot more information than people want, but I want to give a thorough answer to your question. So when you drop down in vibrational level through the veil of forgetting, part of that is that you forget that you are infinite, indestructible consciousness connected intrinsically to the all that is, and that everything and all that is you. So meaning you forget oneness. Okay. You forget your true essence. And as a result, you think or you believe that you're finite, and therefore don't have access to that infiniteness. You need something to complete you. You've forgotten that you are this infinite, indestructible consciousness that is, of course, part of the oneness, which is, of course, complete. But because you are finite and you feel like you're just in this physical body, disconnected from the all that is or the divine, we tend to want to seek something to complete us that is external to us. And we're always looking for that thing, whether it's a partner or the house or the job or whatever it is, the new blouse, it doesn't really matter, right? We want that thing that's external to us to make us feel like we're complete somehow. But the challenge with that is that in finding that external completion in something material, you don't really feel satisfied for very long. At least you do. I mean, you might for a little bit. I mean, so I'm not saying you won't enjoy the car, the house, the person, the new set of pair of jeans, but it's temporary.
Yeah.
And then you're off trying to find something else to feel complete. Yeah. So that's what I would consider to be absolute scarcity. So you're always in it. You're never, you can't leave it.
Yeah, and that makes sense because in our world, it's always coming at us, whether it's on Instagram or on commercials or everything's the media and other people are always telling us we need more, we need to buy, you know.
And that we'll be happy if we get that thing.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah, and that you are not enough.
Yes.
So you need something outside of you for more. The first thing I think of is addiction. I mean, that seems to be the basis for addiction as well. Wanting more and more and more, and never enough. Never enough.
Yeah, and then when you throw in the chemical aspect of addiction, right? Then you have this real, so it's not only mental emotional now, but you have the chemical aspect of addiction, which is running through your body, which is creating a state where you want to have that thing in order to have that state of happiness, peace, contentment, whatever it is that you're seeking.
It's like on a physical level, a
mental,
spiritual
emotional
level, everything. Not
so
in your
hard.
favor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about when I was like just getting into like The Secret, Law of Attraction. You know, I was like 16 and it was just like blowing my mind. I was like, what? It wasn't God and what I was taught, you know? Or that's at least my belief now. And so I remember at that time finding it hard to understand what that meant with when people would say it's all within you. I get it now, but maybe in case some listeners are wondering, what does that mean it's already within you? Yeah. What do you mean not outside of you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, the disconnect that you're asking about comes from really associating only to the small s self that I've talked about before. So the small s self is when we associate only through the ego mind, meaning perceive the world or the physical reality through that lens alone. And through that lens alone, we are separate from and we are disconnected from the divine, okay? Because you're looking at only through the framework of your mind, okay? When you get to a higher level resonance, you start to be able to access more of what I call the big S self, or being able to associate or perceive the world from spirit, as opposed to just the ego mind. When you start to perceive that, because your resonance is higher, you start to have glimmers at first and glimpses, and then more and more of this experience of this expandedness, of this sort of like internal strength and confidence that you are connected to pure source, okay? And you always have been, you just maybe weren't aware of it. And now you're cultivating that awareness. And as you cultivate that awareness, you realize, oh, well, wait a minute. As you start to expand, I am everything, everything is me, so everything is within. Like that field of possibilities exists within me because I am infinite consciousness, which is really hard for the mind to get. Like on an intellectual standpoint, you're just like, yeah, because it doesn't really feel like everything's within me. Yeah, really, it's not there.
Especially when you're really going through it or something.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, again, your mind, which is limited. So we're talking about a resonance that is higher than your mind. So it's not something that necessarily you mentally understand, although that is helpful. It is actually something you experientially feel when you hit a certain resonance level. Okay, frequency resonance level. So I realize that may be frustrating for some people. It's like, well, I really want to get there. Well, it's possible to get there now more than ever. If you release your distortion patterns, a natural consequence of that is your frequency resonance will buoy up. It just will happen, whether you want it to or not. It's just going to happen. And as a result, if you do that enough, your resonance will rise to the point that you can start to access the big S self and that infiniteness. And then you realize, holy moly, like I have this incredible power to co-create everything, like really, truly everything. And when that starts to happen, it's kind of mind-blowing because you're just like, whoa, that for some people it's scary almost a little bit because it seems like a lot of power, right? It can be overwhelming. And it's also very exciting because you create everything. And then there's also the next shoe that drops is accountability. Like, well, wait a minute then. If I create everything, like, why have I been creating what I've been creating?
Right.
Maybe I can create something different.
Right.
And that's part of coming into the sovereignty as co-creator, which I talk about
and your
also.
own power.